U-turn on top. Hey, it's the DETOUR.
Let me start by saying that I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. When it comes to tech things, when it comes to figuring things out, or if it's learning guitar parts, I would say that I excel pretty well with learning things and knowing how to do different, activities and skills and everything else that you can think of. However, there are some times that I just crash and burn and do nothing but just eat absolute shit and look like an idiot. My life has not been completely full of turmoil, but there's been plenty of times that I have looked like an ass, and this is one of the times that has been so predominant in my mind. I've talked about this before, but I figured I'd put it in video format here for everybody to see, so you guys can make up your own assumption about me. Let me just say this is that I do film full-time. I work with the marketing department, and I've worked with the same company for, I think it's been over 10 years now. I can't even remember, but I've been there for a long time. Along with that, I've gotten to meet some pretty incredible people in certain industries, and I've been able to rub shoulders and go to places that have been way out of my pay league. I've interacted with tons of people over the years, and I have seen many, many different things, but this is one of the stories that really stands out as a big fail on my part. Now, to give context, I was actually in California when this happened. This was a big business trip where I went from Cleveland to Nashville to California, and then we ended up coming home. And I don't know if anybody else has this, but living in Ohio, it's pretty boring here. We don't get a lot of crazy stuff that happens. 21 Pilots is from here, and Jake and Logan Paul are from here. We've got Cedar Point, we've got Columbus, Ohio, we've got the most haunted houses, and we also are the most profane state, and our state looks like a fucking tractor. Have you ever actually looked at the name Ohio? It looks like a tractor. You don't believe me? Take a look at it. Here's a tractor. There you go. But when I travel, I can't help but just keep the mentality that I'm in Ohio. My brain doesn't really process anything outside of that. It's one of the reasons why leaving the country and checking out other places is very intimidating, and it's one of those that I think to myself, man, I have to remind myself I'm not at home. There could be anyone that's around me, including this situation. God. Oh, they don't need to know this. Why are you telling them? So through some situations, I was working a sporting event where we actually had a VIP box that we could go to throughout the day. It was very, very hot, so we could go up there, cool off, get a bottle of water, have some lunch, the whole shebang. And in this VIP box, there were many different employees that I worked with directly and then also indirectly, as well as sponsors and a couple of other people that I really didn't know too well, but I had seen them around. So a lot of familiar faces were around me. Whenever I've been at different events like that, I always kind of feel like I don't belong, where it's like, man, I eat chicken out of a frying pan with my bare hands. I don't deserve to be around this kind of greatness. So I know my place. I very much know my place. But regardless, by this point of the day, it was lunchtime. I'm hanging out in this VIP box, and I remember looking over and seeing someone. And I remember it was this moment of thinking, man, I feel like I know that guy. I feel like I've seen him somewhere, but I couldn't place it, because there's always that disconnect that you have whenever you meet a celebrity or somebody that's well known, is that when they're on camera and they're in real life, they're going to look different. They're not dressed the same. Maybe they don't have the same makeup on. Maybe they have a different physique, or maybe their hair is longer. There's all those different factors. So sometimes spotting celebrities can be kind of hard. However, with this situation, I had absolutely no excuse whatsoever. I remember sitting down at this table with a promoter, and for the sake of argument, I'm going to call him Daniel. Daniel and I were sitting there, we're having lunch, we're doing our thing. They had veggie trays, they had little sandwiches. Oh, I love little sandwiches, especially when you put the little toothpick in them, little club sandwich. Oh my God. After a hot day, the mayo just hits properly. I don't know how anybody can hate mayo. But regardless, we're eating, we're doing our thing, and I kept looking over at this guy, and this guy was very, very tall. He had his kid with him, so, I was just like, oh, okay, so this guy, brought his kid to watch, this event. That's pretty awesome. And I found myself staring quite a bit because I was trying to place it. I'm like, I know this guy. Where have I seen this guy? My first thought was I thought maybe I ran into him at Walmart or something. Trust me, that is not the case. So I get done eating my food, and I walked over to the trash can. Now, I will say this is one of my favorite things about this place. They had motion activated trash cans where you can just act like a Jedi, and it's just popping up like this, and the blue light comes on. It's a whole experience. I looked at it, I waved my hand over it, and I went, whoa. And I'm still holding trash in my hand at this point, right? I'm messing with it. I'm doing my thing, and I'm kind of like... I'm such an idiot. A part of me was almost like, these are not the droids you're looking for. After it lost its momentum, because after a while, because I don't know if it uses gas pistons or whatever it does to push it up, but it was struggling to get up, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I should just wait a second. So I did. I threw my trash away, I turn around and I ran into this gentleman that I've been looking at. Like, that I've been staring at for the past hour, like periodically. I didn't just eye fuck him the whole time. So I turned around, I bump into him, and I looked up because he was tall. I looked up and I went, "Oh, dude, sorry about that." And he went, "Not a problem, you're good." And my first thought when I looked at him was that he was kind of a rough dude. He had a goatee, bald, you know, and he was wearing like, I think like a leather jacket or something. It was a thin leather jacket. It was a hot day. Why was he wearing a leather jacket? I guess it makes sense. But it was a very casual thing. No conversation got sparked. I didn't ask him who he was. I was kind of like, oh, he's just some cool guy that was here with his kid. I sit down, to which Daniel looks at me and he goes, "Do you have any idea who you just ran into?" At that moment, I kind of felt like Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight, but genuinely confused, being like, why? No, why? Who is it? I'll be honest, I didn't connect any dots. He was looking at me like I had 7 heads in complete disbelief that I did not recognize this gentleman. Daniel looks at me and goes, "Dude, that's Goldberg." Goldberg, the WWE wrestler. He's huge. So at that moment, it hits me what just happened. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, maybe I should like try to like, you know, go say hi to him or something, or like, you know, say thank you for all the entertainment. Because I was kind of into WWE. Well, actually, that would have been WWF. Isn't that weird that they had to change their name after all that? That's weird. But mind you, I'm still at work, so I'm not like in play mode. I'm not like, oh, I should goof off and go do this. Like, no, like I gotta eat and get back to work. So I'm going out, I'm getting footage, it's hot. I'm using the VIP room every now and then to cool off, which by the way, they had this elevator that barely one person could fit in, and it's like 1,000,000 degrees every time you get into it. But when you make it to the top, it's completely worth it. But outside of these VIP boxes, they had these bleachers, right? These bleachers that were kind of like, you know, an overhang that, you know, was over the rest of the bleachers, right? So I'm up there, I'm grabbing footage of all the event, I'm getting different things, I'm trying to like, you know, think of like what this project's gonna look like in post. Again, completely negating anything that's going on around me. And I felt somebody sit down next to me. I felt the presence and I went, oh, someone's there. I didn't even look. I'm filming stuff, you know, I'm getting, you know, fast things and trying to stay focused. And all I could think was, don't screw up this shot. Don't screw up this shot. You've got one chance to get this. Now, luckily, I got it. But I looked to my right, the presence that was next to me was gone, and Daniel comes out of the door and looks at me and goes, "Dude, are you serious?" To which my response was, "What? What happened?" And he goes, "Dude, you missed him again. He was sitting right next to you." I can't even meet celebrities correctly. If it was John Cena, I would have known it. But then again, I probably wouldn't have seen him. Something to always remember. Make sure that you pay attention to your surroundings because you never know who is going to be there. You could meet Goldberg.